Life and death is really just separated by a line. We really don't know when's our last moment, so we just have to cherish each moment. It was a very down period of my life where I even thought of ending my life because my self-esteem took a hit. I guess the easiest thing to do and the most coward thing to do was to end my life.
Have you found peace with your own death then?
If you really think about it, you really don't know when is your last day. So one thing it taught me was the sacredness of life and how we should cherish every single moment and savor the moments. There are valleys and there are trials and there are peaks. You just got to enjoy the peaks.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Chit Chat with Aunty Mary. Today we have the lovely Harmony, who is in our studio today. Welcome to the show, Harmony.
Hello, yes, thank you.
So Harmony, you're the first non-friend interview guest. And I reached out to you on Instagram. You're the first person actually that I reached out to on Instagram. So thank you for replying back to me and being so willing and open to come to our show.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, anytime.
You make me very excited and optimistic about reaching out to people.
Okay, that's great.
Who I don't know, because before that, the past 5-6 episodes that people that I've been interviewing were actually my friends, just to get myself ramped up. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Really appreciate. Well, everyone, Harmony has a very interesting profile. She is an entrepreneur and also a funeral home director. Maybe Harmony, you want to introduce a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Harmony T, and I do that for a living. I'm a funeral director in Harmony Funeral Care, which is a third generation funeral company. So I left my job about 8 years ago in Ernst & Young when I was an auditor, and I took a very bold career switch to enter the death industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very daring.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it was not an easy feat. I guess it was also a very difficult decision back then. But looking back, I'm glad I made the switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I am very, very impressed by your profile. We're about the same age and you run a funeral home business. I think you're probably the youngest in your industry, I assume?
I used to be the youngest in my industry when I first started, but I'm no longer the youngest.
Oh, wow. So there are people around our age who are also starting up funeral home businesses.
Definitely. Some even younger than us. They are trying out this path of career. And I think a lot of people, there's been a lot of interest in this trade in recent years. Also, that's what I observe.
Yeah, as my first non-friend guest, hopefully we'll be friends after this, but as my first non-friend guest, I was very, very interested with your profile because you're super young, and I see that you're also trying to grow your brand presence and founder presence online. So that is, very, very refreshing for someone who's dealing with the funeral home business. And also, last year, I actually had 2 friends who passed away. So I have been very fascinated with the topic on death and also purpose since my layoff. So I figured, you would be the best person to speak with on this episode because you see death every single day.
Okay, I hope so. I hope I can share some useful insights to you.
Yeah, I'm sure. We chatted briefly before this, and you're super insightful, and I think you also have a lot of lovely stories to share, which I think will help our audiences here as well to help them rethink, their perspective on life and purpose, and maybe through an interesting lens via death.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start from the beginning. You said you're for your family business, but I'm sure you didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this, right? What started you on this journey?
So about 8 years ago, when I was working in Ernst & Young as an auditor, I was posted to Houston, the US, to work. I guess it was quite a blessing because not a lot of people get a chance to work overseas. However, unfortunately, my dad's health was failing really badly back then. Both of his kidneys failed and he needed a transplant. So when I received a phone call when I was working in the US, he said, Mani, my kidneys failed. Both of them are failing. And tears just streamed down my face and I didn't exactly knew what I was supposed to do because on one hand, I was striving so hard, working, climbing the corporate ladder. And on the other hand, I was very worried for my family. And even to fly back from the US to Singapore would take at least one day, provided that there were available flights. And so that got me really thinking. And of course, incidentally, there was also talks about my paternal grandfather's shop. So they are one of the pioneers of the funeral industry in Singapore. Now they are mainly doing wholesale coffins, and they used to handcraft coffins from hand. Yeah. So they are doing funeral services, and there were talks of selling the business because back then no one in my generation was keen to carry on the family business. So after much persuasion from my father, although my mom initially strongly objected it, I decided to take a leap of faith and quit my job as an auditor and just join this trade that I knew nothing about.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm very impressed by your story, and you are very, what you call in Chinese, 孝顺. Very filial.
I try to be because I'm the only child. So yeah, I would think that a lot of my parents' hopes are also placed on me. Yeah.
But I mean, for me as well, to be fair, my parents didn't ask, my family didn't ask me to go and help with their family business, but it was also never top of mind because I felt like I studied so hard, the opportunity cost of, you work in the Big Four, right? For you to even get in there, and then because of your dad's health situation, you decided to, say goodbye to your corporate career and jump ship immediately. I mean, other than, because of was your dad's death like a turning point? But I'm sure, is your dad okay now also?
My dad's health, I guess it was one of the factors that encouraged me to and put me in the direction of joining the industry. Thankfully, he's better now, but there are other ailments to think about. So recently, just this year, he was diagnosed with stage 1 cancer, unfortunately. But they have since removed the kidney, and now it's so far under control.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, you are a very filial daughter to do that for your family, but if we maybe rewind 8 years ago, was it a very hard decision, or was it like automatically, yes, I'm going to do this? I'm just very curious.
Of course, it was a very tough decision because, like you said, the opportunity cost was high. I studied 4 years in a local university, so hard to get a degree, not just to enter an industry where I didn't even need a degree in. So I did ponder for quite a while. I spoke to my friends, I spoke to my religious leaders. I tried to sought counsel from like entrepreneurs, from people around me, before I made the leap, the decision.
Okay. And then now there's no turning back.
I guess there's always a turning back or turning left or right. We can always change our course of life. But for now, at least for the next 10 to 15 years, I do see myself still being a funeral director because I find meaning and purpose in what I do. And I truly do take it as a calling, a call of duty, to do this. And I find immense satisfaction in what I do when I see how my job can really help others through their tough period of time, through their vulnerable periods.
Wow, I love that. And I think for me, one thing that I think I've always struggled throughout my career was finding meaning. Being corporate for about 12 years, and after many jobs and after running promotions, you also feel very meaningless. It's like, I'm not like a surgeon, I'm not saving lives. And for you as well, here you're helping families. So I imagine it gives you a lot of immense meaning in what you do. And that satisfaction.
Yes.
Which a lot of people actually, I feel, lack these days in their day-to-day job.
Yes, I think a lot of us, we're just climbing the corporate ladder and there's no end to it. Like once we get to a certain level, there's always something higher to climb. So the key is to be content with what we have and to know exactly what we are aiming for in life. And it's not just about our identity at work, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah. I agree. So thank you for sharing that. So, since maybe we tap a little bit into your childhood as well, and since your grandfather it was also in the funeral business. He owned a coffin business, and your dad helped him. And now you are running a funeral home business, which is something you didn't imagine. But back then, since your family was already in this trade, were you afraid of death growing up?
I guess I wasn't afraid of death. I didn't really think too much into it. I mean, I knew that we usually spent our reunion dinners at a coffin shop where there would be, of course, dead bodies and there would be also coffins around. But I didn't really like ponder so much into it. But maybe because I was already so used to having it around me.
Were there bodies in the coffins?
Oh, no. The bodies were in the embalming care centers.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was not exactly exposed to them that often as well.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom didn't really like the idea of me being exposed too much to death at a young age.
Wow. But I mean, you have your reunion dinners still in the business itself.
Yeah, our Chinese New Year's I usually spend there because my grandmother would visit the shop every single day without fail.
Wow, very hardworking family you have.
Yeah.
Very, I mean, a line of entrepreneurs. So it makes so much sense that you found your calling and you're doing what you're doing. And you started very young as well.
Yeah. So I'm glad I started at the age of like 23, 24 when I have the energy to do and to learn, the physical and mental strength. And also, I think it's also about the right age because I didn't have commitments. I'm not a family person. I didn't have financial commitments. So it was easy to switch as well. Yeah, in hindsight.
Wow. And then I'm just also, now since you've been in this trade for so long already, maybe you can also walk us through what does a typical day look like for you? Maybe we can talk about from a day when someone dies and when you come in, how does that look like for you?
So a day is very dynamic. Things change very fast because death has no timing. So when somebody dies, they call us and we go down to the place of death within 1 hour and we walk them through the funeral process, decisions they have to make. For example, where they want to hold the wake venue, how many days, the religion. Then we bring the body back to the embalming care center for cleaning up embalming before we bring the body back to the wake venue again to start the whole funeral procession depending on the religion of the decedent. And then, of course, we will also assist with the food preparation, the logistics side of things.
End to end.
Yeah, end to end. It's like a one-stop service. All the way until the final day of the cremation where we arrange for the vehicles, the hearse, the bus, and the ash collection assistance service.
Wow. So you are actually with the family for up to 5 days to a week sometimes.
Yes, but thankfully, I do have a team to help me with that. So it's not just a one-man effort. I think for me, myself, I can only do so much. So very thankful that the team is also very good at what they do and find meaning in what they do. So far, it has been very good.
But I imagine for maybe someone in your team, for them to be so close to the family for that maybe 3 to 4 days to 1 week, do you think and then maybe in your earlier days when you also have to shadow and be with your family.
Yes.
How does that change your perception of death?
For myself, personally, I think when I first came across death in a lot of scenarios, because death has no timing and it can be very unexpected at times. It could be an accident. It could be a heart attack that was unprepared for. Because there are no warning signs as well. It taught me that life can be very fragile and precious. Like the line between life and death is really just one line. And at times we don't even know when is our final moments. So one thing it taught me was the sacredness of life and how we should cherish every single moment and savor the moments. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, rightfully said, because in an ideal case scenario, the person would pass very peacefully in their sleep. But you also deal with accidents.
Of course,
illnesses.
Sorts. Yes.
Sudden deaths. Young people.
Yeah, I mean, even young people as well. Younger than us.
Children.
Yeah. People, like baby funerals also happen. Yeah.
Baby, oh man.
Yes.
Then does that make you very emotional still?
Of course, until today, if the cause of death or the situation of the death is something a bit more tragic or something that we can relate to a lot easier, because sometimes maybe, for example, if the deceased, which we had done the funeral for before, was a lady, very capable, pretty, 1 year younger than me, myself, and was actually driving in Malaysia. The boyfriend unfortunately got into a traffic accident, and we did the funeral for her, but it actually made some of us in the team cry because
Why?
her age was so similar to us, and it could have been any one of us. It was just a vacation, like a leisure holiday,
Yeah.
and it ended up in a tragedy. Yeah, and if you really think about it, you really don't know when is your last day.
Wow. And I mean, you saying just give me goosebumps because it
Oh no.
no, I think it yeah, it gave me goosebumps because you're right. It could happen to any one of us.
Yeah.
And that life is so short and so fragile. And yeah, I think there are a lot of things that we take for granted.
Yes.
Do you think it changed you as a person? Like, how do you feel like it changed maybe your relationships, maybe how you view things?
I think I learned to cherish people around me a lot more and to value the time with them more. And at the same time, for a lot of other things, I learned to 看开 lah. Basically, I try not to get angry or bear grudges because it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah,
They are so
right.
small and minute when you think about it in the
Yeah.
whole scheme of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it really is, right? And
Yeah, it is definitely.
Yeah, and life is literally so short.
Yes, it is very, very short. In the blink of an eye, it's the end. Yeah.
Oh. Well, what is the hardest part of your job? If you were to look at like the stuff that you do now.
I think the hardest part of the job is to strike a balance between being professional and emotional.
Okay.
Because at times, of course, we do feel sad as well and we want to go the extra mile for the family. But we do need to maintain some form of professionalism also so that the standard is kept the same among all the family members that we serve.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we don't get family members who come back the next time around and say, hey, that time you did this, but how come you never do this for me? But of course, we do our best for each family to what we can.
So strike a balance being professional and emotional. So emotional meaning like make sure they don't see you cry.
Yeah, of course,
Or
we
like
should not
try
cry.
to hide your feelings.
Yes.
But sometimes also human, right?
Yeah, but then
especially
it
if the
would
story is very
be-
very charm.
Yeah, but it's like we are helping them to manage through such an important
course.
event.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't seem very nice if we start breaking down in the midst of handling the event as well.
Okay. But because you guys are human, so and especially as you rightfully mentioned, you walk with the family for that few days to sometimes a week. So it's a long journey, and you definitely also you do get close to the family, right?
We do. So we form very genuine friendships over time that we still keep in contact even after the funeral. Yeah.
Wow, no, I love it. No, that's so meaningful. No wonder so many people now want to become funeral home directors and run that business.
Yeah.
It is very meaningful. I do see a lot of value. Well, maybe personally yourself, was there a time where you maybe like broke down or maybe broke down personally or that was very hard for you to deal with in your job in this role?
When I first started out, like when I was very young, 23 or 24, I just started expanding my company. So I didn't exactly know how to be a boss. So the onus was also on me. But my staff, one of them, unfortunately, made a huge mistake. He took the wrong body. So it led to a watershed news, and the family in question was also obviously very affected by it, even though we expressed sincere apologies time and again. But understandably, they have their own emotions and grief that they were dealing with as well. And because it landed up in a lawsuit because of the monetary settlement where we didn't exactly agree on. So that was like a very tough period for me, because certain words were exchanged that led me to question the existence of my own life.
Okay.
I think they said
What did they say?
something along the lines like, you're a university graduate and you're wearing a blazer and you can't even do a simple job like that. Something along those lines. And I guess it may have been said out of anger, but at that point in time when at such a young, tender age, it affected me a lot, and there were a lot of keyboard warriors commenting very negatively on the news. I didn't know what to do, and I was thinking, okay, I do feel sorry, but sometimes I also don't know how to like express further my apologies, because I can only do so much. The mistakes has been done. I can't exactly reverse it anymore. The most I can do is to see what I can do to appease the situation, to rectify what I can. So I guess it was a very down period of my life where I even thought of like ending my life, because my self-esteem took a hit. I didn't want to go out and meet anyone for fear that they could recognize me for being that funeral director that is in the news for the bad reason, for wrong reasons. So it took me a long time to really reflect on myself, and also to like really think about whether this was something that I want to still continue. I mean, I had an university accountancy degree, so I did thought of just living it, and going back to my own accounting or audit career, which wouldn't be too difficult with a degree. However, after much consideration, somebody did remind me, like, why do you start doing this in the first place? So I realized that the purpose is very important, and I realized that when I first started doing this job, besides that it was a family business, I really wanted to do something meaningful besides a corporate job. I wanted to make a difference to the people I was serving in the bereaved situation. And I really, really wanted to change how the funeral industry was. So when I first started, the funeral industry was very different than how it is now. Now it is like a profession where we dress ourselves very smartly in blazers, ties, formal attire on the final day. But in the past, when I first started, people were wearing just white shirt and black pants for a normal funeral, which isn't as dignified as it is today. So I was also one of the first to actually make that change in our company back then, to say that, okay, you guys have to wear blazers and ties, no matter how like difficult it is because of the weather in Singapore. Because it's really hot. But they got to do it because how you look matters, your image matters, and you want to give a better send-off to the deceased, and that is what we should do it. So I guess the easiest thing to do and the most coward thing to do was to end my life. Thank God I didn't, because of friends around me who really showered me with kind words and love, kindness. Kindness is very important, which is why I always remind people, if you can, do be kind, because you don't know who needs it.
And what's going on in their mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, suicide rates, if the news just reported that it kind of like increased among a certain age group. And entrepreneurs, recently, two female entrepreneurs actually took their own lives, unfortunately. So it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. And I mean, I could easily be one of them also, but thank God, things didn't go that way, and I got myself out of that whole black hole. But it was definitely not easy, a very, very tough period where I felt like the whole world was going against me. And even my parents, because they were so worried, it wasn't helping. Like, whenever I go back, they just started questioning me, asking me questions, because they themselves were worried as well, understandably. And for the first time, I saw my father cry in my whole 20 over years. So it was very, very heartbreaking. But that was also what gave me strength to live on, to tell myself that, if I'm going to just end my life, I'm going to leave my parents behind, and they're going to be so heartbroken. And that was when I really recalibrated and say that, okay, I still want to be in this industry because I find meaning in what I do, and I'm not going to let one mistake bring me down. In fact, I'm going to pick myself up from where I fall, and I'm going to make sure that I do even better, make sure that I rectify the mistakes, make sure that I come up with preventive measures and grow myself and the company. And one very important lesson out of all of this was also that I realized that, yes, sometimes we work so much that we think that being our work is us, like being a funeral director is me,
your
Harmony.
identity,
But actually, I hold so many other identities. Work is just a minor part of my identity. I'm also a daughter to my parents, and now I'm a mother to my son. So I'm also a friend to my friends. There are many other roles that we play in this life, and work is one of them, important aspect, but it's not the end of the world, even if your work life ends. Yeah, but of course it was very stressful, very traumatic, especially it was a lawsuit and I didn't know how to deal with.
Yeah, it's so young.
Yeah, at such a young age. And I was dealing with what they wanted, compensation of 200 plus thousand. And I was like, oh, I really didn't have the kind of money.
Yeah.
You know, it was stressful.
So actually what happened was you guys burned the wrong body?
Yeah, my staff took the wrong body and
But was it also
cremated
under
the wrong body.
you guys' care? But
No, so it was like a few companies involved. It was an embalming care center,
Okay.
our company, and another funeral company.
Okay.
So the company, the family I dealt with was thankfully a doctor.
Okay.
So he was saying, human mistakes happen, and it happens in the medical line as well. So he was very understanding about it.
Sometimes they trade wrong babies also.
Yeah, so he was understanding, but he didn't condone the mistake.
Of course, it's still,
I also apologize because it is still a mistake.
Yeah.
But the
other
other
side.
family handled by the other funeral company was not very pleased, and understandably so.
Okay.
Not proud of the mistake, but I felt that the story shared is more of like to inspire people who are going through a very bad time right now that things will get better in a matter of time, even though it seems like it's really shitty right now. Yeah, things will definitely turn for the better. It just takes time, and life is not like a stagnant line. It's not going to be smooth sailing all the
you
time.
will recover.
Yeah, it's going to be, there are valleys and there are trials and there are peaks. You just got to enjoy the peaks, and when you have a trial, a valley, then you enjoy the peak a lot more. You appreciate life's highs a lot more when you have experienced a low, and it allows you to be. For me, myself, I learned to be a lot more humble and to be more compassionate towards people who make mistakes, because I realized that everyone deserves a second chance.
Yeah. Thanks, Harmony. You are so, I huge respect for you. And I think also funny enough, and I think this is actually also, ironic. I actually reached out to you because I read about this news many years ago. And when I started my podcast, you were like the first guest that I reached out to because on the topic of death, but I also remembered this case. And you are such a lovely person. You're so humble. You are very kind, and I really enjoy our conversations. And I think there are a lot of learnings that, we make mistakes, but I really appreciate the fact that you are not afraid to admit what you've done and also come back 10 times stronger. And look at look at your business, how big you have grown now.
Yeah.
Right? And also for you to reflect and to share the stories and, be very honest about what has happened like many years ago.
Yeah, definitely it's not easy. It's still traumatic even to now. But I think I have already embraced it as part of what has happened in my life that has shaped me to who I am today. So I am, although not proud of it, but I'm still thankful as a whole as to what has happened and the lessons I've learned from it.
Yeah, technically it wasn't your fault as well. It was someone your stuff, but you took that full ownership. You built it on yourself.
But that's the thing about an entrepreneur, right? So I did consider also, it's not done by me, and I couldn't have prevented it anyhow. But I guess the moment that you decide to be a boss or an entrepreneur, founder, owner of something, it's that kind of risk that you have to take. That's what I learned also. Yeah.
Well, we need to maybe next time have a discussion on leadership itself. But thank you for being so open and vulnerable. I have huge amount of respect for you, and
thank you.
Thank you for even sharing this story and like also your reflections and learnings. 8 years later.
Yeah, around there.
8 years later. Well, but I say if anything, I think the fact that you're so open and honest about it, I think it just shows the kind of person and lady boss that you are.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm proud of you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, maybe on a more spiritual note, do you feel any? Since you work so closely with death, do you feel any like? Not that you have a sixth sense, but are there any stories that have like spooked you, or kind of like any death that have like kind of like linger on, or any like spidery sense on anything on a lighter note?
I guess not that extreme, but when I first started, I used to be awoken at like 3 a.m. Yeah, and then when I Googled, they say, it's like where the spiritual forces are the strongest. And sometimes I did felt like something around, but it was just a phase, and then after that it was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I would be too scared to do my job. But I think that my job is also doing a good like deed lah. So as long as I know I'm doing the right thing, not doing anything wrong, I
Yeah.
don't think I have anything I have to fear.
Nothing will touch you.
Yeah.
Actually, but during funeral, they always have this red string. Why? I don't really understand. What is that purpose?
Is to ward off like inauspicious ideas related to funerals and to prevent any spirits from following you home.
Okay, so you take take one string, and then after, like on your way home, you throw it out, right?
Yeah, correct.
So
By right, you're supposed to wrap around your finger lah.
Oh.
Then you throw it out. Yes, before you reach home.
so then it wouldn't follow you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What if you don't throw it away?
I guess it's better to throw it away. Better to be safe than sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean that every single time you're working, you still follow that practice?
Oh no! I mean, I 百无禁忌, so meaning like I'm not superstitious.
Okay.
Yeah. So I still go to work. Yes.
So you don't follow that practice?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think working in this line, it's a bit hard to follow that practice every single time when I'm dealing with so many deaths per day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, on a lighter note, because talking about any like spooky stuff, and you shared when you were younger, but then also it occurred to me that when you attend a funeral, people always give you that string, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always very curious about the meaning on that. Well, so on a different topic, I'm also very curious about how your relationships have changed since you started in this line. Maybe how you view whether your relationship with your partner or with your children specifically.
I think I learned to cherish like the time with them a lot more. So I do savor each moment. Like for example, quality time with them, seeing my child grow up, seeing my parents grow old as we grow up. So this kind of quality time, family time is very important because my time with them can be very unpredictable due to my work nature. I try to just maximize the time that I have with them.
Okay, so you say it could be very unpredictable, meaning you sometimes would have to leave at like early in the morning?
Yeah, or even in the middle of the night.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm on a night shift or a night call, then yes, I will have to do that.
So you still do night shifts?
Yes, I still do at times to help the team out.
Okay, so that means that at any time you have to be on your phone and you would just have to like drop everything you're doing now and go to the...
Yes, that's the sacrifice we have to make.
Wow, it's not easy,
Definitely. So a lot of people can't stay in the job for long, but it depends, right? Each job has its like pros and cons. So you see whether the pros outweighs the cons for yourself.
Okay, but I like what you shared about meaning and purpose, and because I mean, A, it's your family legacy, but B, also you being around death so much, it gives you a lot of perspective, and you find very, very meaningful in what you do. So I think, this helps compared to like maybe creating a deck at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Right? That one has zero meaning at all.
Yeah. But I mean, it is still tiring when like we are sleeping and then you get a call.
Even when you're sleeping also?
Yeah. I mean, it's like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and you just have to dress up and go down and assist the family.
Wow. Wow, this is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So people out there who is considering funeral homes, it's not all glitz and glamour.
Of course. So they have to consider thoroughly.
Yeah. Okay. So I think just pondering upon what I also shared earlier, that for me personally, 2 of my friends passed away last year, and it also made me reflect about death and life and purpose. I'm just curious, why do you think a lot of people think about these big questions only when death occurs?
I think we think that death is very far away from us and there's a negative connotation to it as well. So a lot of us do not think about it. Only after when we have a brush with death, for example, an illness, then we start to really think about how fragile life is.
I agree. And I think that was, growing up, I think when I was younger, I had grandparents who passed away, but I was too young to even realize. Now in my first time of adulthood, that was when I have 2 close friends who passed away, and that was the very first time where I actually sat down to think about life and like the kind of life that I want to live and like what I want to be remembered for. And as you rightfully mentioned, because it's so far away, for you that's why like now the kind of life you live, do you feel that you live life like it's like seize the day, kind of like each day is the last?
I do. So it's like just really cherishing each moment.
Cherishing each moment, right?
Yes.
And I think this is something that a lot of us take for granted. And I hope that you can help spread that awareness with people around here?
Yeah. So I think, like I mentioned just now also, so because life and death is really just separated by a line, we really don't know when's our last moment. So we just have to cherish each moment.
Cherish each moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe on another note as well, since you also work very closely with the deceased family, are there any interesting stories or memories that you have with the deceased family and something that maybe like have stuck with you throughout?
I think a lot of them, all the families are different. But a lot of times we see different scenarios. Like sometimes there are like family members fighting or quarreling with one another at the mortuary over monetary issues like assets when a person passed on.
Oh wow, inheritance.
Yeah, very practical.
Then you all just stand there,
stuff.
pretend don't know.
We not pretend, but
Observe.
we see how we can help with the situation, but we try not to meddle too much.
Okay.
Yeah. And we try to tell them that at the end of the day, unity is very important.
Yeah.
For things to run smoothly for the funeral. So we try to ask them to put their differences aside to get things done. And we remind them that that would be what the deceased would like also.
Actually, I think it's very interesting contrast that you mentioned, because I think we spoke earlier a lot about like how life is so short, treasure each moment, regret. But then in parallel, I think we also see the ugly side of our human nature.
Yes, I mean, when money is involved, it can still be very sensitive among like family members. So that's also why we always encourage people to do up their wills in advance, so as to prevent any disagreements. Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, I've already done my will.
You have your will? So young, you might better do, right? You never know,
better
right?
do.
Okay, I need some advice from you later. How to create a will. But yeah, I think on what you said as well, is like you get to see the ugly side of human nature. Even let's say if a will is not created, then like money issues, sensitive topics could emerge.
Yeah.
But then also in parallel, you also get to see, you know, like how life is so short. You get to see a lot of close families.
I mean, we see a lot of different scenarios, like compassionate stories, but also not so nice stories.
I feel like with that, it makes you like do you feel that with all that insight, it makes you a very deep person now? Do you feel?
I
guess philosophical person?
It does. So I do contemplate on life a lot. But at the same time, it's also important not to just be stuck in our thoughts, right? It's also important to just live the day.
Yeah. Because are you able to like detach yourself from your work scenario and go home and just like be who you are yourself?
Not
very easily
all the time, because there's no like clear line between life and work. It's more like work-life integration, not really balance. So I try to, but not all the time I succeed.
It's funny because I was speaking to my therapist once and I asked her, how do you separate your work life and your personal life? Because you hear so many problems day in, day out, right? And you're counseling people and you're giving therapy. I mean, she's very experienced in the field. She says she just like leave everything in the office and she's able to like detach. But I think you say that it's not as easy, especially if it's very intertwined.
Because family members can be texting me even when I'm at home out of office hours. Yeah, there's no fixed working hours per se.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're doing a good job and you're very dedicated. And
I try my best.
You are very dedicated. I mean, you are there for the families. You're 24 hours on call. And I mean, it's your baby as well, this business.
Yes. But of course, I have a team helping me as well. So things are easier than when I first started. When I first started, I was really doing everything on my own. Yeah. But we are still scaling and expanding. So let's see where it takes us.
But I think it's because the job you're doing now gives you so much purpose and passion that even from what you share, like the learnings and like the what you do, even though it's like so, I mean, it can be very tiring and taxing. You still want to do it because it gives you so much purpose.
Yes, I think the benefits that I get from it, the emotional side of things, definitely still outweigh the negatives.
I hope I can find a job like that one day.
You can join us.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe we. I think I would like to maybe close the question with one last question.
Yep.
How about in terms of like maybe your own death. Have you found peace with your own death then? Since you work with death so much?
I think I found peace when I didn't have a kid. But, when after having a kid, I realized that because when I was traveling with my husband without the kid on the plane, and then recently there's been so many plane accidents, I was really scared. Not for myself, but
your
more
kid,
for my parents, worried because I'm the only child, like, who's going to care for them when I'm gone. And also my kid, who's so young, 2.5 years old, what is going to happen to him without a mom or a dad, right? I mean, then I realized that's where I don't fear death for death itself, but more of
People
for
around.
the things that I leave behind.
Okay.
I mean, if my kid is self-sufficient, if he is able to make his own keep and care for himself at that kind of age, I think death wouldn't be so scary. But now, I think when I think about death, I'm not ready to really face death yet. Just because for the reason that, I still have people, dependents.
On me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very interesting perspective. Thinking about death and fearing death, not through your own self, but because of the, your role, or rather like how your death will impact other people. Yeah, your family, like your children, and why because they still need you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, interesting perspective. Maybe that will hit me when I become a mother.
I think it will. Naturally.
Now I just think like, oh, when I die, I become old. I don't think so far.
I think naturally the mother instinct kicks in.
And because I have 2 other siblings, so I and my parents are healthy, so I don't worry about that. But because you said your dad fell sick.
Yes.
And also your only child.
Yes, so there are a lot of considerations.
And you also face death. It's like a daily reminder for you.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. Makes you a very wise person.
I hope so.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Harmony. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Me too.
Thank you again for responding back to me on Instagram. You gave me the confidence to cold outreach to people.
Yeah. You should do that. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate our time.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.